Is your dad a sports fan? Well, I've got you covered. I got a list of games here that'll be perfect gifts for Father's Day or just great games that you can play with your dad. Without any further ado, let's get right to the list. MLB The Show 21 is the premier baseball game out there right now. There's no game that comes close to this one. If your dad is a baseball fan, he is gonna love MLB The Show 21. And a bonus is, if he has Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, he may already have it, so you better let him know because this one's too good to miss. PGA 2K21 is an awesome sim golf game that honestly kind of flew under the radar because a lot of their games came out around the same time. But if your dad is a huge golf fan, he's really going to love this one. He can customize his characters, he can jump in, customize courses. You can hop in and play with your dad as well. This game has it all and it's a ton of fun. Next on the list is for the racing dad, or at least the racing dad with the fun side. We're talking about Mario Kart 8. This is an awesome kart racing game on Nintendo Switch, and if you own this console, there hasn't been a new Mario Kart game in a while because this one is so good and it's so much fun to play. You know, you're not just stuck playing 2 players, you can play 4 players, split screen, online, there's lots of different game modes. It's that classic Mario Kart experience, and honestly, it's just too good to leave off this list. And lastly, it's actually not a game, it's multiple games. The EA Play subscription. It's $34.99 a year, which actually is a great value because you get a ton of games. EA actually opens up a whole library of games in this subscription service that actually allows you to kind of just jump in. And we're talking FIFA, Madden, NHL, we have all different other titles, Star Wars, things like that in there. But honestly, there's a ton of sports titles in here as well. And for just that value alone, $35 a year is a great gift for dad, and it really gives him different options to jump in and play all different kinds of sports games.
All right, Cory, this year we're swinging out of the parks, except on the Series X. All right, Cory, this year we got our hands on MLB The Show 21, and I've played this the last couple years on PlayStation, but this year we got our hands on it on Xbox via Game Pass. So, man, okay, what did you think hopping into MLB The Show for your first time this year?
Well, you know what? I've played the show in the past, and it's sporadically. I've never owned the game. It's just been a game I've played at a friend's house or something like that. And it's always been, known as the top quality baseball game. It's if you want to play a baseball game, you got to play the show. And us Xbox guys have, we've been struggling. We play RBI baseball, we play stuff like that, but we've never had the show. And the fact that we got it this year on Xbox and through Game Pass, so let's get real, it was basically free at this point. With all the games you get, you're getting the value back for what you're paying for Game Pass. So it's, opening up this game to so many more players. And we're going to touch on a little bit later, but we've got cross-platform. We've got cross-progression. These are huge things to kind of introduce into a game that was just kind of so confined to that Sony world. And, I love it. This game is awesome, and I'm having so much fun. And the fact that all my friends now on Xbox have this game, and we're all playing it together. We've actually started an ITG baseball league, and I think this is going to be a ton of fun. This game is just the fact that it's being, so available this year for everybody, I think is really what's going to give it the most points here. Because I think once we get deeper into this review, we're really going to reveal, we are just talking about another sports game, and it's in a sports game that has dominated its, niche part of the market. There isn't any other competition out there for baseball games. So the show does fall into a lot of these other sports titles where we start to get, a little coasty from years to years. But we do have some new features if you want to kind of jump into some of those, Nate.
All right, well, I think one of the biggest and newest features that we have is the Stadium Creator that's available on the next-gen consoles. This is really cool, for a lot of people that like to, bring out their creative edge. The stadium creator actually has a lot of depth. It can be both simple, so if you just want to kind of build a basic one with some couple of your ideas, then you can. Or if you really want to get in depth with different types of fields and stages and it gets out of, like, dude, there are actually a ton of options. I spent about a half an hour just looking through just to see what they offer, and there is a ton here, man. It is actually really exciting.
The game modes here, jumping in, we've got 4 main ones. We've got Road to the Show, which is kind of your be a pro. We go through the story of, starting in the ranks and then working your way up and hopefully making it to the show, making it to the MLB. And then we've got Franchise, which you looked at. There's also March to October, which is kind of a condensed game version of a season where you kind of play through, chunks of games as you kind of work your way towards the playoffs. And the last game mode, Diamond Dynasty, is your ultimate team mode. It's where you collect card packs, you build your team, and there's chemistries, all that kind of stuff. It's a cool game mode. A lot of people really get into this. It's kind of where I'm going to start our bit of a gripe train here. We do get into these microtransactions. We get into card packs, we get into all that kind of stuff, and that is what these game modes are about. People do really enjoy it. They don't mind spending their hard-earned cash on buying card packs that hopefully they'll get those super rare cards they were looking for. But this game is like any other sports game, Nate. It does have its issues. I know you had a few in Franchise, so if you want to go ahead with some of those.
Yeah, well, man, growing up playing sports games, I always liked to play season mode, which is basically franchise mode. But franchise mode, you can really kind of get in depth with the scouting. They actually give you quite a bit of options, which is nice, whether or not you want it to be very in depth or just mostly just play the games. But my gripe here is, man, is that baseball, they're long games, man. You're talking 9 innings, and for whatever reason in franchise mode, you're restricted to playing the full 9 games. You can simulate partway through the game, but for me, man, I don't want to play 160 games or whatever it is in the MLB season at 9 innings a pop, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, that's a lot of baseball. I love baseball, but at least, I'm going back to NHL like 2000, man. Like, you could actually set up a season that was 40 games instead of 80 or 100 and whatever. So, just a shortened season with the option just to have less innings really would make me dive further into franchise mode, because I was just really kind of taken out of the experience by playing 3 innings, maybe playing 5, and then just simulating the rest, and then either losing or winning, depending, right? Like, just for whatever reason, just change that, please. That's all I ask.
The Road to the Show is similar to a lot of them, other than the fact that baseball is a very statistical game. I mean, there's so many different fields in this game that we have to upgrade, or we look at how it changes as we develop our players. So there's a lot of information to take in just at the base of everything. And Road to the Show seems to, complicate things a little bit. I mean, we go through some of these conversations, like you said, whether it be with coaches or, people in the upper management staff, things like that. And, there's no voiceovers, there's no real tone to it. It's just kind of blah. It's text. It's there. You read through it. You do what you got to do, and you move on. But then we get into loadouts for your players, and depending on how, what position your player plays, and where you are on the field at particular games, because like you said, they kind of force this dual position thing on you. And I kind of understand if you're just jumping into this game and Road to the Show is the first game mode you jump into, it kind of helps you learn about pitching and learn about fielding and batting, and they want you to kind of they want you to get a feel for everything here. And you can choose one over the other if you want to. But I just noticed they kind of once in a while they said, hey, you should really jump in and try playing third base instead of pitching this game. And you're like, well, no, I've been pitching this whole time. Like, why do I want to jump in and play third base? Like, it's just weird stuff like that. And then, when you choose these loadouts, there's, 3 different options, but then there's a huge list of options, and they all change your statistics just a little bit. And I mean, it was a little hard to keep keep track of. It was a lot of information to take in. So I think, people that haven't played a game mode like this before may feel overwhelmed. So, it would have been nice to have it a little more simplified or a little more user-friendly at least. But honestly, I'm excited to finally have this game on Xbox, man. The fact that it's on Game Pass was huge. It's open to so many more players. I can be playing on Xbox, you can be playing on PlayStation, and you can bring your character from PlayStation over to Xbox. I mean, that's amazing, man. It's so awesome to have that freedom, and the fact that, the MLB stepped in this year and they said, hey, guess what? Xbox gamers, you guys got this game this year is huge, man. And that's honestly, I think that's the biggest thing the show has going for it this year. So if we got to score this game, what are you going to give it out of 10?
Well, man, like you said, with the accessibility with this game, it is getting a high score. I loved it, man. Also, there is so much depth with either the hitting or the pitching. They have so many different modes that, can really make it feel like a true baseball experience. 8 out of 10 from me, man.
You know what? I think I'm swinging for the fences here too, because I had a ton of fun. The fact that I'm going to have this game year in and year out, hopefully now, is, just going to build on the fact that I'll be able to build through this game and kind of learn all the modes and understand it that much more. I'm not just jumping in casually. This game is for casual gamers, but it is also for the diehards. It has that simulation feel to it, and I'm so glad it's finally on Xbox. I'm giving it an 8 as well.
He's taken him deep once. 1-0 the count. 1 run.
The show is finally on Xbox. With the additions of the Stadium Creator and tweaks to the core game modes, the show is no doubt baseball's best game. But the lack of changes from previous versions can leave the diehard fans of the series wanting more.